welcome to my YouTube channel. So this is called Loving Literature. From that you've probably got a bit of a clue that it's all sort of to do with enjoying reading poetry, novels, little extracts, all to do with different forms of literature. For those that know me, I'm Miss Chowdhury, and for those that don't know me, I'm still Miss Chowdhury. In these sort of series that I'll be making whilst on lockdown, we'll be sort of looking at little parts of novels that I particularly have enjoyed over the years. It might be sort of little poems that I feel, not written by me, but written by professionals, that I have really enjoyed as well. And then we'll just be discussing sort of what I like about it, what possibly I don't like about it. I'll be asking you a few questions. You might get to meet some of my kids, and you know, from time to time you might see different rooms in my house. So the first one I'm going to start off with is going to be Little Women. I really love Little Women. This is one of my most favourite novels. I think this is the one that probably made me fall in love with reading, and I read it when I was quite young, and I just thought this is amazing. I then read it sort of in my teenage years and then older me, and each time I think I've just really got to appreciate and truly understand what is great about it. There's been a film released of it recently as well, and I actually got to say that was quite a good remake and a good version of the novel itself. It had a really interesting way of telling the story, so I really did like that. So today I will read you a little bit, and I'm going to try and read from a little bit in the book, so not right from page 1. I also don't really want to read too much from the ending, because I'd like, if you like the book, I would suggest go and read it. Now, don't go out and buy it, because I'm not simply allowed to right now, but you can find it online. Audibles does have it, and many other online read places that are really free at the moment, so take your opportunity to get some reading in. I always like a bit of a hard copy of a book. I like the sort of feel, the smell, and probably because I'm old, but you know, that's what I prefer. But I have been reading online since we've just been sort of stuck indoors. So let's start, shall we? I will read to you. At certain moments I might stop and talk about things I like about it. There's some certain bits that I absolutely love. There might be bits where I stop and ask you a few questions, so you might want to have some pen and paper out, or you might just want to be really listening out to see what I ask. Okay, if you know the answers, you can put it in the comment box, drop it to me. Let's see if you can get some of these right. Okay, here we go. They all drew to the fire, Mother in a big chair with Beth at her feet, Meg and Amy perched on either arm of the chair, and Joe leaning on the back, where no one would see any sign of emotions if the letter should happen to be touching. Very few letters were written in those hard times that were not touching, especially those fathers sent home. In this one, little was said of the hardships endured, the dangers faced, or the homesickness conquered. It was cheerful, hopeful letter, full of lively descriptions of camp life, marches, and military news. And only at the end did the writer's heart overflow with fatherly love and longing for the little girls at home. I'm going to stop there because I just really love that bit. Fatherly love and longing for the little girls back home. The father in this novella is portrayed just to be so caring and such a wonderful model of a father, and that's one of the things that I really like about this book. It hasn't got that sort of stoic figures of fathers. It's got this very tender, loving element that we don't often see in this sort of literature due to its sort of timing. And it's just something I really, really remember when picking up Loving, and coming from a home where I had a really absolutely wonderful father. I think when I read this, I really appreciated that. So we'll continue. Give them all my dear love and a kiss. Tell them I think of them by day, pray for them by night, and find my best comfort in their affection at all times. A year seems very long to wait before I see them, but remind them that while we wait, we may all work, so that these hard days need not be wasted. I know they will remember all I said to them, that they will be loving children to you, will do their duty faithfully, fight their bosom enemies bravely, and conquer themselves so beautifully that when I come back to them, I may be fonder and prouder than ever of my little women. Everybody sniffed when they came to that part. Jo wasn't ashamed of the great tear that dropped off the end of her nose, and Amy never minded the rumpling of her curls as she hid her face on her mother's shoulders and sobbed out, I'm a selfish girl, but I truly tried to be better, so he may not be disappointed in me by and by. We will, cried Meg. I think too much of my looks and hate to work, but we won't any more if I can help it. I'll try and try what he loves to call me, a little woman, and not be rough and wild, but do my duty here instead of wanting to be somewhere else, said Jo, thinking that keeping her temper at home was a much harder task than facing a rebel or two down south. Beth said nothing, but wiped away her tears with the blue army sock and began to knit with all her might, losing no time in doing the duty that lay nearest her, while she resolved in her quiet little soul to be all that her father hoped when the year brought round the happy coming home. Mrs. March broke the silence that followed Jo's words by saying in a cheery voice, Do you remember how he used to play Pilgrim's Progress when you were little things? Nothing delighted you more than to have me tie my piece bags on your backs for burdens, give you hats and sticks and rolls of paper, and let you travel through the house from the cellar, which was the city of destructions, up and up to the housetop, where you had all lovely things that could collect to make a celestial city. What fun it was, especially going by the lions, fighting Apollyon, and passing through the valley where the hobgoblins were, said Jo. I liked the place where the bundles fell off and tumbled downstairs, said Meg. My favourite part was when we came out on the flat roof where our flowers and arbours and pretty things were and all stood and sang for joy. Up there in the sunshine, said Beth, smiling as if that pleasant moment had come back to her. I don't remember much about it, except that I was afraid of the cellar and the dark entry, and I always liked the cake and the milk we had up at the top. If I wasn't too old for such things, I'd rather like to play it over again, said Amy, who began to talk of renouncing childish things at the mature age of 12. We were never too old for this, my dear, because it is a play we are playing all the time in one way or another. Our burdens are here, our road is before us, and longing for goodness and happiness is the guide that leads us through many troubles and mistakes to the peace which is the true celestial city. Now, my little pilgrims, suppose you begin again, not in a play, but in earnest, and see how far you can get before father comes home. Really, mother? Where are our bundles? Asked Amy, who was a very literal young girl. Each of you told what your burden was just now, except Beth. I rather think she hasn't got any, said her mother. Yes, I have. Mine is dishes and dusters and envying girls with nice pianos and being afraid of people. Beth's bundle was such a funny one that everybody wanted to laugh, but nobody did, for it would have hurt her feelings very much. Let us do it, said Meg thoughtfully. It is one another named for trying to be good, and the story may help us. For though we do want to be good, it is hard work, and we forget and do our best. Okay, that's where I'm going to stop and ask you a few questions now. So, where's father? Where's he gone? Why? What have you learnt about the girls? There's 4 of them, very, very different. We have Meg, who is the eldest. Then we have Jo, and I think I am the most like Jo. One of the other reasons why I love this novel, and I'll talk about that in just a second. Then we have, actually, it is, what was her name? Beth. And then we have the youngest, who is Amy. So they are all very, very different. And I'd like you to think about how are they all so different? What does mother appear like to you? What does the family unit seem like? So the 4 daughters and their mum. How do they all appear? How would you describe them? I'd started off with this scene because it has just such a beautiful family sense about it. Father is missing, but there's that deep, deep love that he has for his children. Mother has a lovely way of listening to her children. Look at how the sisters interact. Now, I come from a family of just 2. I don't have any sisters, and I've always wanted them, and maybe that is why I love this novel so much. I also love it because I think I am in many ways Jo. She is a bit of a free thinker, out there, does what she wants, bit of a rebellion, wants to be a writer, doesn't want to conform to, having to not have her own opinions, sort of get on with family life, get married, have children. And even though I am married and I have children of my own, I think I've always been quite ambitious, and I've always wanted to go out there and get what I've always believed in. And therefore I can actually really relate to Jo quite a lot. And I think in many ways I'm like her, or certainly a younger me was like her. And in a funny sort of way, I think I've ended up with several little women of my own, actually. My husband and I have ended up with 3 daughters. We're just one short of having the whole family that's present in this novella. And in many ways, my children, I think, do represent some of these children. I think I may end up with a Meg. I think I may have a Jo already. And I'm not sure about the other 2 yet. Amy, to me, is quite annoying. If you read it, then please let me know what you think. I will do a bit of reading on Amy tomorrow, actually, because she's one of my most disliked characters in this. And I just, it makes my blood boil. Every time I think of her, And then the other sister, Beth, she's just so forgotten. But again, if you read this, then please get in touch, because there's moments with Beth that I just weep when I read. And Beth is one of those almost forgotten characters, but I think so crucial. And actual fact is, if one of my children were like Beth, I'd be super proud. And again, if you read it, then please get in touch, because I think you probably understand from a parent's perspective why I would be so proud. So that is the beginning of A Little Woman. Tomorrow I'm actually going to continue, or maybe in a few days' time. Let's see how my channel goes first. I need to get that up and started. I'm not very good with this technical stuff. And then we are going to look at the character of Amy. So we'll do a little bit of reading on Amy. You guys may end up thinking I'm just horrible and that Amy is a fine character, but there is something that drives me insane about her. Okay, if you like my channel, then please subscribe. Let others know that this is what I'm doing, especially those that I teach. Hopefully you are watching and listening. And if you have got any advice, which I'm going to be really scared to actually ask this question, then please tell me what you'd like to see. Tell me what I'm doing right. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me how I can improve this. Be in touch. Right, take care, my viewers, and I'll see you again shortly.